Jasmine. Good morning, Dwayne.
Good morning, Tom. How
Good
are you?
morning.
I'm doing okay. How about y'all?
Doing well.
Good. Jasmine, you were in there alone, weren't you? You're all I saw.
Yes.
Oops. The, the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger. I think Aaron will probably be here in a few minutes. He usually running behind.
Yep.
I think they have him
Keith.
working before class.
Yep. Keith isn't here today. I can't remember. I thought maybe today was his last day, or was it one day next week? I can't
Now,
remember.
Keith said he'd missed. He had a doctor's appointment today.
Oh,
That he
okay.
would be here next week, and then the week after he'd be gone.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember how that worked out. Okay.
So I'm gonna try to. I still haven't got those exams to you, the finals, but I'll get them to you. Well, I'll put them on Blackboard.
Okay. I haven't even started thinking about making mine yet, so.
Well,
eh.
that's the way I've been. It's been crazy the last 3 weeks, and I don't know if it's slacking up any for me yet or not. I think it's just called springtime. It's the busiest
Yes.
time of year, it seems. At
Yeah,
least,
I'll
at
agree
least,
with
at
that.
least for me, it is. Is it that way for you guys?
Pretty much. Let's see.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, just I got way too much stuff going on and not enough time to get it done, but oh
yeah,
well.
I know. And the older you get, the less you're able to get done. At least it is for me. Or maybe I'm just a wuss. I don't know. Maybe I think
No,
sleep's
I
overrated.
unfortunately can't dispute you there. Uh,
Maybe I think sleep's overrated. I don't know. But anyway, uh, Jasmine, you got a big weekend planned? You gonna be at the races all weekend, or
I'm supposed to be at the race, but I think it might get rained out.
is this the race at South Boston, or the one down here in Bristol?
The one at South Boston.
Okay.
I wanted to go to Bristol, but can't find nobody to go with me, and I'm definitely not going by myself.
Well, I can understand that. It would not be fun by yourself. You want to know
no.
how close? No, I mean I know y'all are close to tracks too. Martinsville, you're only a couple hours away, and Richmond, you're probably what, an hour away from that one?
About 2 hours.
2 hours from that one. So you've got what, two or three tracks within a 2 or 3 hour haul of you, don't you? You could go to.
Yeah.
So there's probably one down North Carolina that's fairly close. But Bristol's
Yeah.
only about an hour from us. That's the only one close by. And then I guess either Charlotte or Martinsville would be the next closest. Both about 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
But I've never been
where
to
where I
Bristol.
live, if the wind is blowing in the right direction, I hear the cars racing at Martinsville.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, uh, the guys I used to work for building houses, their shop is like right behind the track, so they pretty much Sunday morning they go to church and they go elsewhere. They don't go home.
Oh, I bet not. It would be loud, and I could only imagine what the traffic would be like.
Yeah, the traffic,
Probably
that's
have
the
people
holdup.
parking in their yards.
Well, unfortunately, you go past the track and then you turn down into the woods, so they can't even get that. They're blocked in, but they're at a dead end, and but nobody. They're too far away from the track for people to park at.
Okay, but they just can't get there.
Nope, it's just the worst of both worlds.
And how? When are they able to get home?
Usually, they kill time during the afternoon. They could go in during the middle of the race, but then they can't go back out again. But a lot of times, they'll go somewhere else, and then they'll go back to church Sunday night, and then, they can get home with no problem then.
Oh, okay.
It helps with the good church going people.
Yeah, it does.
And
Yeah,
they're like swimming upstream when they go to leave to go to church first thing in the morning, so that helps too.
right. Then when they have the night race, I guess they just camp out for the night with no plans to leave on Saturday night, right?
Well, we haven't had the night race at Martinsville yet. They just put in the lights, so we'll see.
Oh, okay. I thought y'all had a night race. I'm sorry.
The first night race at Martinsville is going to be the late model race, and I'm
Will be
definitely
the
going to that.
What was it Cal Petty said they ought to do with Martinsville is fill it up with water and stock it with bass because he hated that track so bad.
Well, they have the
Yeah.
lake right outside the track, so it wouldn't be that hard to do.
No. Well, maybe Aaron's not coming. Usually he's here by now, isn't he? All right. On uh, next week, the they've posted these surveys, student opinion of instruction, and it's under announcements. So if you just go to announcements and click on this, you can critique me, and I would appreciate it if you did it for both classes, Aaron and Jasmine. Uh, but as I said, that'll be available Monday. So other than that, um, and Jasmine, this doesn't pertain to you, but it pertains to most of the other students. Uh, Next week, that's your last week of class, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All assignments need to be submitted to me by Thursday evening of next week. So for those of you that are still missing assignments, and guys, I've looked at this. I've got 2 assignments by one guy. Well, the 3 students that slack in assignments, I think it's just maybe like 1 to 3 assignments, depending on the person. So it's not like you're, in a real bad situation. So, but you do need to get them in because it's better than a 0. You don't want to get a 0 for it. So please get them in to me next week, the next Thursday, so I can have it all graded, and all we have to do is put in the final exam, and whoop-de-doo, there's your grade for the semester. It'll figure it out for me really quick. So anyway, if y'all be kind enough to turn those in, get those submitted to me, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I can't think of any other housekeeping things to talk about. Tuesday we started the chapter on termination, and we said it's the last step in an unsuccessful attempt to help the worker meet the standards of the job. It's termed the death penalty of employment, and it's an analogy of a workplace divorce. And we talked about management implications. We talked about legal implications. We talked about things that it's illegal to terminate based on. And that's age, sex, religion, national origin, race, disability, whistleblowing, or protected concerted activity. We also talked about being really careful what you say. You don't want to make promises or verbal statements such as long as you do a good job, we'll have work for you. And we talked about, we reiterated the fact about how a pre-employment practical exam is a really good thing, not to mention a probationary period. And if you have that probationary period, make sure you have an evaluation process during that probationary period. We also talked about at will, firing at will, versus just cause. Just cause is you have to have a good reason to be fired. And that's where we ended up. At will, they can just get rid of you for any reason. And we talked that it could have a negative impact because you don't have any sense of job security. If you have that policy, do not hide it in fine print and do not contradict it verbally. As for the employee, it gives the employee the ability also to quit at will. Okay? It's a two-way street. They can quit for any reason at any time. Just like the employer can terminate the employment for any reason at any time. Now, just cause is more likely to increase fairness and decrease the number of wrongful termination suits. That's the problem with at will, an at will termination. You can get sued for wrongful termination. And the other thing with just cause, it requires you as the farmer or owner, business owner, to better manage your human resources by informing your employees of substandard work, misconduct, and if it's appropriate, you give them a chance to improve. You have to have a really good disciplinary process. And it also, hopefully it reiterates the necessity of going through a thorough job search. Just don't base it on a resume and interview and references. A lot of jobs do that. Have a pre-employment or pre-interview practical exam. See what they can and can't do. See how committed they are if they even show up. Have a pre-farm orientation. See who's really interested. So, the more stuff you put in there and you can make it as a series of hurdles, the better chances you are going to find the person you really want to hire, the one that's going to stick with you. So you really want to do a good job in that job search because, both of you guys are at fault, or both parties are at fault because you chose that employee and that employee chose you if it doesn't work out. So just cause it will, the workers feel things are going to be more fair and hopefully, you won't have any wrongful termination lawsuits. And it's going to require you to have a better human resource, to do a better job with human resources by informing the employees of substandard work, misconduct, things like that. So, I would really consider the just cause compared to at will. Virginia is an at will state, but I don't know how well that holds up in court with wrongful termination lawsuits. It does go to people have filed lawsuits and neither gotten their job back or got compensated for it. So uh, make sure you document everything you do. Make sure you have a good disciplinary process because you don't want to go to court. It's going to be costly. And don't be afraid to ask a lawyer to make sure you're doing everything right. Laws change constantly. Um, so don't be afraid to have a good relationship with the lawyer and make sure everything is on the up and up so you don't end up in the lawsuit. Now, some trends that are going on instead of, say, like a wrongful, you let somebody go and they turn around and sue you. Instead of it going to court, some trends that are going on is one of them is called binding arbitration. And that's to work out cases of termination. Uh, you get a fast decision as to whether or not you were right or wrong, whether you got to pay out or hire them back or things just, they're just out of luck. Uh, the costs are limited to payback and reinstatement. So, you're not going to have court costs. You're just going to have to pay the cost to pay the employee back and reinstate them to their job if it was a wrongful termination, because they don't they don't add on punitive damages. Some juries will add on punitive damages. They'll make you pay more as a punishment. So that's one of the trends. Another trend to resolve termination issues is what's called an alternate dispute resolution. And basically, you're using a mediator rather than an arbitration proceeding or litigation. They have a mediator in there to try to work it out, a neutral third party. And I don't know why they just don't call it mediation, but they have a weird name to it, the alternate dispute resolution. Now, if it comes to the point that you have to fire somebody, you want to do it with dignity. It's going to be a very demoralizing process. You're going to, that individual is going to feel demoralized. It's going to hurt the morale of everybody else. And it's going to hurt you. Believe it or not, it will bother you. So what we want to do is try to avoid that, but that's our last resort. So, hopefully we have gone through all those steps in the previous chapter, with a disciplinary process. You got to follow those with verbal and written warnings, suspensions, and lastly, terminations. Because you don't want it as a surprise. If they don't, and you're targeting that behavior that they're doing, and if they don't want to change and they continue to do it, number one, they know they're going to get fired. And number two, hopefully they'll move on and you don't have to deal with it. They'll just quit, go find another job. But if they don't quit and they continue that behavior, it's going to lead to termination. So again, consult with your attorney. It's for your protection. Okay. People are vindictive, and they're out. Some people, I used to have a lot of faith in humanity, but I don't anymore. Maybe that's wrong. I know that's wrong with me to feel that way, but I do believe people are out for a free ride, and they'll sue you for anything they can sue you for. And if they think they can sue you for wrongful termination, they will. So make sure everything's documented. Make sure you followed all those steps and talk to an attorney beforehand. When you do let them go, when you do fire them, let that employee know that you're other than the management team and those that are on a need to know basis, you're not going to discuss that issue with their coworkers. So this goes back to what Tom said yesterday. If you're asked, you just say they no longer work here. And that's all you can tell them. The only people you can tell what's going on is the management team and those that need to know, like an HR department or something like that. So you don't let people know. You keep everything as much as possible. You keep it private. Now, if you have to let somebody go, are you going to write them a letter of recommendation?
No.
No. No, 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 no. A big, big resounding no. All right? The reason being, you'll get sued. If you write them a letter of recommendation to help them find another job, they're going to use that letter of recommendation in a lawsuit against you because you're contradicting the reason for termination. But don't ever write letters of recommendation. Don't ever make verbal promises that, as long as you do good work, we'll have a job for you. Don't ever tell them that stuff. So you gotta be careful. You don't want it. This stuff will come back to bite you. That's why I say consult an attorney. But don't ever write letters of recommendations. How about, we know that the term being fired, if you fire somebody, it's got that term as the death term of employment, or whatever, however we phrased it earlier. The death sentence, or the death penalty of employment. Instead of firing them, can we just lay them off? Would we avoid it? If we had to pay unemployment tax, yeah, our unemployment tax is definitely going to go up, but that's cheaper than going in court. And when that person has to apply for another job and they say, have you ever been asked to resign or been fired? They don't have to check that box. They can just say they were laid off, especially for reason of leaving that job. So would it be better to lay them off instead of firing them?
In some cases.
It sounds like it would be, but in reality, it's not. That too can lead you in court. It can land you in court. If that employee pushes the issue, you lay them off and you hire somebody to replace them, they could fire you. They could sue you. Okay? So laying them off is not going to be a good solution. Now, the other day, Keith was talking about, when there's management, when they had a management shake-up and they brought a new manager in and he brought his team with him and they pushed out the old team. That's not a firing. That's just a reorganization. those people got pushed out. There is a difference, okay? You're firing somebody because of behavior, whether it's their wrongdoing or substandard work. They're not changing their behavior. So that's different than a reorganization. Does that make sense? Because he did make mention that when they let people go because of that reorganization, they did try to find them another job, either with another department in the company, or sent them to an employment services and paid for that to help them get reemployed. So, don't lay them off. If it's going to be a fire, if it's a termination, just terminate them. They can get you sued. All right. Let me ask you this. Should you ask them to resign or should you fire them?
I think you should go ahead and fire them and get it over with.
Yeah, I agree with you, Aaron. In reality, on that application,
If that's the case.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's being nice if you're asking them to resign. You know, if but it's pretty much still the same thing. If you think about job applications that you've completed, there's usually a question on there. It says, have you ever been asked to resign or terminated from a position? So it's pretty much the same thing. What are your thoughts on that, Tom? You still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you. There is something to be said for yeah, you're going to be gone anyway, but if you would rather resign, you can either resign or I'm going to fire you. And so sort of give that person the option if they want to go ahead and say, yeah, I'll go ahead and resign. And then, so that takes out the delay there. But then when you're sitting there telling somebody you either resign or I'm going to fire you, they're probably going to be pretty mad and either way. And so that you might have a hard time getting that resignation note or letter or whatever from them. So that if you wanted to get around that, you could actually pre-write the letter for them and have them sign it. So,
but out in the workforce, it's pretty much treated the same, right?
Yeah, a lot of times it is. That's true. Yeah, like you said, the question they asked is, have you been fired or asked to resign from a job? In which case, they're basically lumping both of those into the same question, and they're going to be treating the answer pretty much exactly the same. So,
right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called a death penalty of employment, because
Yep.
it sends up the red flags for that next employer.
Yeah, because the other thing is, you might think it's better if I resign, but then if they turn around and ask you, well, why did you resign? And then you start talking about, well, I had to resign because they were going to fire me. That looks bad. Or if you tell them the reason you resigned was because you were having problems with the way the managers ran the company, the way the business was being run, or whatever, that makes it sound like you're a whiny butt, and it's going to work against you as well. So unless you say, well, I had family issues, and then they're going to be thinking, well, you're probably going to have the same family issues working for me. So the resignation, it really, like Dwayne says, it really doesn't help.
Yeah, it's not a good deal. What about a termination agreement? The book mentions that. Uh, and basically, that's just an agreement regarding the terms of termination that, that you're going to leave, you're not going to sue, uh, you're leaving because of these reasons, uh, you know, and again, you want to concentrate that on the behavior issues. No, you don't want to make it personal. And they're going to be mad, like Tom said. They're going to be, more likely they're going to be mad. They're going to have some type of emotion going on. So the termination agreement, some companies think that them signing an agreement is going to limit their liability of being sued. Uh, you can't sign away liability. It'll protect you from the people that don't know that. But if they talk to a lawyer, the lawyer's going to tell them you can't sign away liability. So, but it's basically, the termination agreement is that you're agreeing to leave the company, and they're not going to take any repercussions against you. It's 50-50 on that, guys. It will protect you from the ones that won't go talk to a lawyer and think they signed away their liability. But if they feel they've been wrongfully terminated and they go talk to a lawyer, that termination agreement is not really going to help them. But it's still not a bad idea to try to get them to sign one if they'll sign it, just in case, that, oh well, I signed a termination agreement that I wouldn't sue them, and then they don't pursue it any further. So a lot of companies are doing that. It probably wouldn't hurt, but you can't force them to sign that. So realize you can't make them sign that termination agreement. And a lot of people will put in that termination agreement. If you'll sign this agreement, we'll give you a bonus, or we'll give you a severance pay, and make it contingent on that agreement. I don't know how kosher that is. I think, if you're letting somebody go and the book talks about this, to kind of soften that blow, you give them some severance pay or a bonus to help them for 2 to 4 weeks until they find another job. And a lot, and if it's a management restructure, that's a kind of a different deal, because a lot of time that severance pays there, or they'll pay that severance pay, and it can be quite substantial. But when you're firing somebody, you're not obligated to do that, but it is a gesture of goodwill. And like Keith said, you don't want them going bad mouthing the company. So yeah, you may be firing them, but give them something to hold them over. They're going to be pretty upset, pretty mad. They should know it's not a surprise. They should know it's coming. Okay, if you've done your job right, they know they're going to get fired before you even call them in the office. So it shouldn't be a surprise, but that separation bonus will make that bitter pill a little bit easier to swallow. Make sure that you get all their keys, any credit, the company credit cards, if they have access to, if you gave them a company credit card, or cell phones. You get all that stuff from them before you give them that severance package or a separation bonus. Otherwise, you're not going to get it back. And if they got a set of keys, you're going to have to go change all your locks. And that can be expensive. So make sure you get all that stuff back before you give them a separation bonus or anything like that. Now, where should you do this termination? Where should it take place?
Like, in an office or something.
All right, it should be somewhere private, correct?
Yes.
I mean, at least out of hearing range. Because you don't want the coworkers to know it's none of their business. Right? So, if you have an office, that's a good place to do it. Do a lot of farms have offices? No. They meet at the shop, or you sit in the truck. So, or you go out underneath the shade tree and if it's summertime. Right, Aaron?
That's right.
Yeah, we met at the shop every morning and discuss day's plans forever. Or, wherever that's where we always met was the shop. Business was conducted in the shop. But just make sure it's private. Nobody else can hear you. Now, who should terminate? Who should actually carry out the firing?
The boss, the manager.
Well, that depends, doesn't it? I mean, if it's a crew and they have, their supervisor just doing the supervising the hands on the crews, or if it's the manager, or should it be the owner? It depends on the amount of authority the direct supervisor over that employee has. Does that make sense? If I work for you, Aaron, on your farm, say you raise tobacco, and I work for you on the farm, and you had Tom hired as an overseer of the laborers, to make sure the job got done, and you were the owner, if Tom doesn't have the authority to hire and fire, then you need to fire me. If Tom has the authority to hire and fire field workers, then Tom could fire me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So what you mean is if that supervisor doesn't have the authority to fire, then you have to take it to the next level.
Exactly. So I'm not trying to be a smart aleck when I say it depends. It depends who has that authority to do so. Now, would it be if Tom did not have the authority to fire me, and you've got to fire me, would it be good to have Tom with you when you terminated my position?
Yeah, it would probably be a good idea since Tom is around you more than I probably would be.
Exactly.
Most of the time.
Exactly. And what that shows is, that direct supervisor and then the manager above him, even if the direct supervisor has the authority to fire, the two supervisors need to be there. The direct supervisor and then the next level up, or the owner of the farm. Because what that does, it serves several purposes. Number one, It shows there's unity in the decision. It shows that you're standing behind Tom and his decision that I'm not doing enough and I need to be fired. Or that I'm misbehaving and I need to be fired. It shows that y'all are in unity with that. I don't have you pulling for me and Tom against me. Tom just doesn't like me. That's why
No,
he's
I
fired.
don't.
That's right. So, with you standing there with Tom, you're showing me, you're telling me, hey, that boss, there's unity in that decision. They both agree that. So, it implies unity. It also gives us a witness. Witnesses are good, especially if it lands in court. So protect yourself with the second person as a witness. Okay, also that second person may have interpersonal skills that can help out and help diffuse a bad situation or a situation that could get bad. Tom may be able to talk me down if I get upset with you. Or you may be able to talk me down if I get upset with Tom. So you got a second set of interpersonal skills that can kind of help diffuse a situation. And the other thing it does, if I get really mad and want to go off, I know I got two people I got to whoop instead of just one. Right? So that second person reduces that chance of a violent breakout. Make sense? So it's good to have two people there. Now, I'm looking at your classroom and I see another guy. Weren't you one of the students in here before? I can't think of your name.
It's Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor. Now, if it was Trevor, he could probably handle both you and Tom. He's pretty buff. But
I could outrun him.
all right. You don't have to outrun Trevor. You just have to outrun Aaron, right?
I don't know if I can outrun Aaron, so I'm going to have to go outrun Trevor. Oh,
I got these long legs, Tom. I can come after you now.
As long as you ain't trying to shoot pumpkins at me.
I was on a bunch, me and some friends went to Florida. My friends invited me to go on vacation with them. And we went down there to Florida, and we were, just a bunch of rednecks. They took their families. We had a good time. But there were three of us, me and Fred and the guy we called Greenhorn. We decided we were going to go snorkeling. And we went to some state park. I don't know where it was. And then, this is like the blind leading the blind, right? And we were all following Greenhorn. So, I think back to that movie, Star Wars, and when they're approaching the Death Star and Han Solo goes, man, we're crazy. I'm crazy to get you to, letting me take my Millennium Falcon right here and be captured by the Death Star. And Obi-Wan Kenobi looks at him and says, who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool that follows him? I was feeling pretty much like a fool because we were following these trails. And old Greenhorn says, I wonder what made these trails. And Fred goes, alligators, you idiot. And I'm thinking to myself, it dawned on me that we could be in a precarious situation. And then it dawned on me, we're getting ready to go in this lake and these alligator trails are all over the place. We're going to get it. And I said, well, I'm going to, I said, you go ahead and lead there, Greenhorn. I said, I don't know if I could outrun an alligator. And he goes, well, I don't know if I can outrun an alligator either, but I think I can outrun you, and that's all I care about. With friends like those, I don't need enemies, right? But
Yep.
all went well. We had a good time. But that's the reason I said that you only have to outrun Tom. You may not have, or outrun Aaron. You may not have to outrun Trevor. But anyway, you got to have two people there because it implies unity. It can help. The second person may have interpersonal skills to help diffuse a situation, and two people reduces that chance of a violent outbreak. So what else should we do? Once we tell them, is it over? We want to make sure before we end the meeting, we want to make sure we have all of our keys, cell phones, and all that stuff back. And we're going to give them a separation bonus or severance pay once we get those items back that belong to us or the company. Then we can give them the money. And if there's any type of paperwork we need to give them, then we give them that paperwork. And then we want to escort the employee off the property. Now, in this termination meeting, this is important. Be prepared. Okay? Think about what you're going to say beforehand. Stick to the facts. Make sure you communicate clearly why they're being terminated. Okay? Don't leave any doubt. Keep it focused on the behavior of that person, of what that person did. And don't say too much. The more you talk, the more you open your mouth, or the more you open your chances to saying something you shouldn't say that could land you in court. So don't say any more than you have to. So be prepared. Prepare what you're going to say beforehand. Don't say any more than you have to. Keep focused on the behavior. Make sure they are clear on why they're being terminated. And then ask them if they have any feelings or questions they want to share or discuss with you. Because, a lot of times they'll feel better if they just say what they need to say or say what they want to say and get it off their chest. Hear them out, but just don't say any more than you have to. Any questions? That pretty much finishes up the chapter on termination. Do you have any questions or anything, Jasmine and Aaron?
Can't think of anything.
Aaron, you have any questions?
No, I think I'm good, Dwayne.
All right. Tom, anything you might think of that I might have left out or you'd like to add?
Not right off.
Okay. Again, guys, just try to keep everything professional. Check with the lawyer beforehand. Now, Um, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Now, typically in the past classes, we have missed a lot of school, and I'm pushing just to get through the discipline and termination. Um, we still have 2 more classes left after today. Um, and so I've got to do some work, or at least have what I like to do, if it's okay with you guys, is on next Thursday is to have a review. I'll give you guys the chance to ask me questions to prepare for the final exam. So Thursday will be your guys' day to ask me whatever you want to know, any clarifications, any questions you may have from your previous exams, or any questions about the final. And because I want you guys to do well. Any questions? Does that sound okay with you guys?
Sounds good to me.
Is that all right with you, Aaron?
Yep, that's all right with me too.
All right, and maybe we can share some stories. Swap lies, so you may want to wear your muck boots or something. It could get deep. Right, Trevor? So,
Dwayne, do you know what day we're going to be having the exam?
I don't know what your exam schedule is. We've got 3 different schools going, or well, this one's 2 different schools, and we have different start dates, we have different end dates, we have different exam schedules.
Aaron, for us, it's scheduled for Thursday, May the 4th at 9 o'clock.
All right, good, because I have to be at Tech on Tuesday, May the 2nd.
Okay. So we got to figure out when you're doing your 143 test, because that's supposed to be Tuesday, May the 2nd. We'll have to chew on that one.
All right, well, we can talk about a day or something to maybe a little bit ahead of time or whatever. Whatever's best for you.
All right.
I'm going to try to put my exams online, or I'll try to get them online. Now, in the animal science exam final, you will need a calculator and you'll need scrap paper because you will have to balance a ration.
Dwayne, I also have another question about the animal production class, because I don't get to talk to you much, but
Right.
I'm doing my project on horses, and I got to get some rations balanced for a horse feed. Where would I find the nutrient recommendations for a horse?
I tell you, let me show you what to do right here. I know I run into this problem all the time, okay? Because you cannot find the feed tag on feed does not give us the information we want to know. It tells us protein, it tells us fat content, it tells us fiber content. It does not tell us energy. And we need to know energy as well as protein, and we need to know dry matter. Now, the dry matter on that feed, bag feed that you buy, that's as fed basis. Um, Everything, all that information is on an as-fed basis on a feed that you buy. It's not on a dry matter basis. What I would do if I were you, oops, I'm sorry. I did not have this on my computer. In Blackboard, on in the nutrition in animal production, under nutrition publication, the nutrition publication folders right here. Can you see that on the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. I've got two deals here. One from University of Kentucky on balancing rations for horses, and one from Virginia Tech. When it comes to balancing rations on horses, and this is, you and somebody else, or somebody sent me rations on horses. I don't think it was you. I asked them to give me a call. Horses are a different ball game. When you look up their nutrient requirement tables, it's not going to tell you a TDN requirement. It's going to tell you calories or kilocalories that they need. So if you just look at this one from Tech, we see, here's your requirement. Just you can use these requirements. You have mature horses, maintenance, first 8 months of pregnancy, and your pregnant mares, lactating mares, working horses, and I don't know if they have anything in here down here for growing horses and stuff. So here's everything you need for that. Now, if you'll see, it's listed in calories instead of TDN, and proteins listed in grams instead of pounds. So you're going to have to do conversions. There's 454 grams to an ounce. Is it to an ounce? And there's 16 ounces in a pound. I think that's right. Maybe it's 4.
Yeah, that's right. I think so.
So, if you scroll on down here, they work through an example on balancing a ration. And so you're going to determine the weight and condition, the class the horse is in, whether it's growing, performance, is it doing a lot of work, a little bit of work, or is it just maintenance? Find their horse's requirements, and then you're going to your high school math is going to come back like a nightmare. Okay.
So if I have 20 horses, I said if I have 20 horses, do I have to do one for each horse or each?
No. No. I'm not going to make you do that.
Yeah, because I have mares, stallions, foals, and geldings.
All right, so you have a broodmare farm or a breeding farm, right?
Yeah, I have a breeding farm. I got 20 total horses.
All right, so you're going to have a ration for your stallions. I think they got one up here for breeding season or something. I don't know, but you're going to have your ration for your mares for maintenance, late gestation, early gestation, and late lactation. You're going to manage them as a group. Your foaling season's going to be, pretty close together. Your breeding season's going to be close together, right?
Right.
So you're just going to pretty much feed them the same as a group. So you're going to have a ration for the late gestation, early lactation, late lactation, and maintenance. Uh, your young horses, uh,
You said early lactation.
yes, when they're milking heavy, recovering back from foaling and so on. And if you
All right,
breed
so I
on
got.
foal heat, horses for some reason they'll breed 10 days after they foal, and you can get them bred and they'll become pregnant. Uh, or you can wait; they'll be cycling in their normal 20, 28 days. So uh, either way it goes, you're going to have at least those three for your mares or four. You're going to have, if you creep feed, you need to creep. I wouldn't worry about creep feeding unless I'm foaling out in January. But you're going to look at your foal for the first 3 months, and then at 6 months and 12 months. When are you selling them?
I'm probably going to sell them when they're about. Well, I want to sell the young ones too.
Yeah, but your foals, or when are you selling them? 6 months age, 12 months age, or 2 year olds, or what?
I want to sell them at 6 months.
All right. So you need them up here. So you need ration to get them weaned. Then you're going to put them on a sale and sell them.
So do a ration for 6 months.
Yep. Because they're going to be nursing the mare until then. You can creep feed them if you want to get them growing a little better, to look pretty for the sale. If you do that, I need a ration. And see what they have one for stallions up here. Yeah, and you need
All right.
one for.
All right, so I got stallion, late gestation, early lactation, and foal at 6 months.
Yeah, if you scroll up here, do you see this right here? You've got your. It looks like this. It's the same for 9 and 10 months, but your 11th month gestation, your nutritional requirements go up, and they go up again those first 3 months. 3 month from foaling to 3 months, they go up, and then from three months to weaning. So you're going to have your late gestation, your lactating, and foaling to 3 months and 3 months to weaning. So you'll have, and then your your maintenance, I guess. I would just do up to 9 months. I'd have foaling to 3 months, 3 months to weaning, 11, 11 months, and then a 9 month one. Or you could throw a maintenance in there between 6 to 9 months. And then I'd have one for my stallions, one for my weanlings. You're not going to find the calorie count on feed, unfortunately. You either going to have to call the company and get it, or this example just uses oats.
Well, what if I use feed labels from my work that are on the horse feed bags and stuff?
That's fine. I don't care. You can do that, but there's probably not going to have a calorie content on that.
True. Yeah, you're right.
And that's where you're going to run into problems. They're not going to tell you the calorie, just like cattle feed doesn't tell you the TDN.
Well, how do I find that out?
What's that?
I said, how do I find the calorie count for the horse feeds?
Maybe the company will tell you if you're lucky. I haven't had any luck with Southern States telling me that. I've had to send it off and get it analyzed, just so you know. But you don't have time for that, and it'll cost you money, and you don't really want to do it for this class. You could just use oats. Because it tells you what oats is in here. Uh, they're in this example, they're using oats and alfalfa.
Yeah, I've got alfalfa and alfalfa hay
Well, I tell
as
you
one of
what
my.
I would do. I would almost just use this example, and I would almost use oats and alfalfa. And I know that's an expensive feed because oats is not cheap, but you've got a really good example to follow through all the way through this. And your amount of oats and alfalfa is going to vary, but it should meet most of those requirements. On your creek feed or your weanling, I don't know. We'll have to check. You'd have to just check it. You may have to add in some corn or something. You're going to be okay with with the protein from the alfalfa, and oats is probably going to do most of your energy. And you can just follow this example straight on.
Well, I got them on a pasture too, so they're going to be. I got separate pastures
All right.
with
Are you
with
using fescue grass?
yeah, I got fescue and Bermuda grass.
All right. Make sure you put in there that you're going to remove those mares 3 months before foaling from fescue. Otherwise, you're going to run into retained placentas, a thickened placenta, weak foals, and no milk in your mares because of that endophyte poisoning or that endophyte fungus.
So you have to take them out of the
It's
pasture
nasty.
3 months before.
What's that?
You have to take them out of the pasture 3 months before.
You take them off fescue. Fescue hay, fescue grass. It's nasty. You can give them a product called Dom Perignon. You can get it from your vet, and it's supposed to offset those effects. And you start giving it 30 days before the foal date. If they go past it, you got to continue giving them that paste. It's a little paste you squirt in their mouth. It's expensive, and it's a hassle. But
Well, I might can change the deal with the tall fescue. I might can have a different kind of grass,
I
like
would.
millet or something, pearl millet. Is that any better?
Uh, Pearl millet's an annual. I'd be worried about my horses foundering on that. I don't know why you just couldn't go to the Bermuda grass if it grows there in your area good. And I really wouldn't worry a whole lot. To be honest with you, I wouldn't worry about the fescue other than 3 months prior to foaling. So I'd pull them off the fescue. I'd dry lot them or throw them in my Bermuda hay field, and I'd feed them Bermuda grass hay. And I'd quit feeding fescue until after foaling. You can work around that. You want them off of fescue, and look it up. It may be 60 days instead of 90 days, but you want them off of fescue prior to foaling, or you're going to run into agalactia, which is no milk. If they don't have milk, they don't have colostrum, and your foal's going to die. It's that simple. Or that placenta is going to be thick, and that foal can't kick through it. So what I would do, I mean, it's costly to get rid of your fescue pasture and But I would pull them off. I would dry lot them, or make sure that's ate down so much there's no grass left in there in those fescue pasture or in a fescue pasture prior to foaling, and I would feed them Bermuda grass hay or alfalfa hay. But I would not deal. I wouldn't try to. I wouldn't try to redo all my forages. I mean, I might, but I would do it over time if I did that, and I'd probably go an endophyte free fescue. But where you live, you got to have something that can handle the heat, and Bermuda grass does really well on that, but you don't have any fall growth. It once it gets cold, it dies, and the more you can keep them out on pasture, the better off you are. So, uh,
Well, those were just parts of my forage management. I got different ones for the warm and cool season.
okay. Remember, you can't give them sorghum other than
Sudan grass or
Sudan
Johnson grass, right?
You can't give them Sudan grass. Most
Sudan.
sorghums you gotta be careful of. You can graze pearl millet. Uh, but you could look at ryegrass, not rye the grain because of the prickly stuff on the seeds. It bothers their mouth really bad. But you could think about ryegrass for a late fall, early spring forage, or even oats. Grazing oats or making oat hay. You don't let it, seed out and get the grain and founder them. But I wouldn't be afraid of fescue other than those last 3 months before falling. And work through this example. And if you have trouble with it, call me because this thing's due next week.
All right, yeah, I definitely will call you if I need some help. I've got it
What
pretty
I
much
would
all
do,
together. I just gotta finish it up.
yeah, I mean you've only got 20 brood mares. I'd have them all foaling in the same month and breed them all the same month and manage
Yeah,
them
I've
as a
got 10
group.
mares.
Okay, 10 mares. Yeah, I'd breed them all the same month. I'd foal them all the same month and be done with it. And I'd manage them as a group like I herd of cattle. I figured you'd do cattle. You surprised me that you're doing horses. I didn't know you were into
No.
horses.
Yeah, we have a couple horses. So
Well, I knew you had a couple, but I thought you were more into cattle. Any? Does that answer your questions? Does that help you out, Aaron, or not?
yeah, that helps me out a lot. Should I have to do one for maybe because I put on here I got two geldings too. I don't know if I should kind of just
Yeah,
do away with those.
yeah. You need to do one for a gelding. Are they under light work or
They're
hard
just
work?
riding horses. They're riding horses, trail
I
riding
would
horses.
just put. Are you showing them?
Yeah, they're show horses.
Then I'd probably go moderate to intense work, something like that, depending how much you're working them. What do you show in?
Western.
All right, what classes?
Oh gosh, you got me there.
Oh, I thought you were currently showing. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I don't show. My sister does, but this is
What's
just from
she
my
show?
project.
What does she show?
I I honestly do not know.
All right. All right. So Monday or Tuesday we'll do chapter 18, creative negotiation. This is a cool chapter. I recommend you guys to read it. Be prepared, because we negotiate all the time. Even if it's negotiating between our friends where we're going to go eat lunch. So, uh, so we'll talk about negotiation on Tuesday. Thursday we'll review for the exam. So I got to make my exam up before Thursday. And Aaron, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to call me at home with that project.
All right, I will, Dwayne. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get it all together and get it turned in.
All right. All right, guys. I'll let you all go. Stretch your legs before Tom's class, and have a good weekend. Trevor, I'm glad you got to see me again.
It was nice seeing you too.
And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to call. And Aaron, all the assignments are going to be due next Thursday for HR.
All right, yeah, I'm taking my test today, so they'll be done.
All right. And I think you're still missing a couple of the assignments.
And for HR, yeah, I'm gonna get those in too this weekend.
Okay, good deal.
Aaron, did you take my test yet, or are you taking it today? Oh, actually, Aaron, you took my test 2 days ago. Yes.
Yeah, I took your test.
Okay, hopefully it's sitting in my mailbox. They haven't emailed it to me yet.
Yeah, I took the test. I turned it into, I can't remember her name, but I turned it into her.
Okay, like I say, hopefully it's in my mailbox. I'll find out later. Yes.
I feel bad because I always get here 30 minutes early and I think there's only you guys in here and you're in here by yourself.
Yes. It only happens the days that you get here early. The days you get here late, Keith is here. So,
You work well.
I mean, the class just ended. I was actually working on an assignment for a history class. Yeah, I'm doing history this summer. Yes. Oh,
Want to help me walk through one? I got the step by step. I just want to make sure I'm doing it right. All right. So
did y'all mean to turn on your microphone like I accidentally turned on mine? Oh, okay.
Was mine on?